You know, for as long as I've had a computer, I've been a pretty big fan of the Doom games. Doom has always been a great first-person shooter. It pretty much defined the genre back in the day, and it had awesome music, really cool sprites, and it was just interesting overall because it was about demons and hell. So I was pretty happy so many years later when they decided to reboot Doom and make it really fresh and new and good looking and incredibly fast. I liked the idea of it so much that I wound up getting this special edition. And yeah, I had to pan out because this thing is actually huge. Look at my hand on the face of it. Bethesda did a great job with the new Doom game, and I'm pretty excited for Doom Eternal coming out very soon. And in honor of that, why don't we go through and take a look at what this collector's edition brought me back when I bought it so long ago. Obviously enough on the front here, we have a Revenant, which is pretty telling of what we're going to receive. The side has what I believe is the UAC logo. The back details the different contents of the collector's edition here, and obviously enough you can see that one of the things it's supposed to come with is this amazing statue. The other side is another logo. Pretty standard. And removing that slipcover allows us to see the Revenant in all its glory. And speaking of the glory that is the Revenant, let's open this up and see the demonic beast inside. It was pretty well packed. You can see this big giant brick of styrofoam actually even has the Doom branding on it as well. Ooh, and there it is. And here he is, and the Revenant truly is huge. This thing is just under 12 inches tall from the base to the top of its shoulder cannon. It's a great scale for something like this because these monsters truly are giant and terrifying in the game. The Revenant was always one of those strange enemies that just looked very unreal and just creepy. That's kind of the point of Doom, but still, those sprites were just awkward and that made them scarier for some reason. I was really glad to see the Revenant getting some love with this release. For them to put him of all the demons as the special edition statue was a pretty big testament to this demon's legacy. But we know why you're all here. Detail. Let's take a look at this figure and just how great it does look. You know, with special edition figures with video games, I've almost given up. A lot of times they come and they're pretty terrible looking, but I will say that this one works rather well. It's not perfect, but I will say that the details are far better than I expected for something like this. There's a lot of smaller detail in all the different fleshy parts where you can see all the different coloring. There's so much different coloring, and that paintwork is actually pretty darn good. I'm not a big fan of the gloss overcoat, but I get why they did it. The gloss separates the flesh from the metal, which has a more matted feel. And to be honest, it distributes itself rather well, and it really does distinguish the different pieces. The head is just a little bit too glossy for my liking, and I do believe that there's a paint error on the eye of mine, but I mean, I'm not really getting in that close to always see it. Now, another eye does look to have a little bit of paint missing, and I don't think that's from having it in storage, so I will say that that is a point deducted for a bad paint error. But still, the rest of this looks great. It's gritty, it's gross, it's industrial, and it's Doom. This is a demon that comes from hell and tries to murder you. And as far as the sculpt goes, there's a lot of simple stuff, but there's a lot of additional detail that helps to really flesh this thing out, no pun intended. The many different grooves and etch marks and all of the torn flesh and intestines and all that, it really does add something to this. It's not just a simple smooth surface, and it does seem like there was a lot of effort put into the actual sculpt. This, of course, is accented even better with all of the different paint colors that are used to fully detail this thing as much as it has. The mechanical parts look really good too. They have a very rough and industrial finish, very damaged somewhat and worn, which looks great. There's a great separation between the fleshy parts and the more mechanical parts, and I've got to say, it's really well done. The base looks great too. It's actually standing on what looks to be some sort of fan. Of course, there's a bunch of metal bars over top of it, and the fan blade can be seen inside of it. But on the outside, the more generator-type looking parts have a huge gash along them, and everything here is really well detailed and even well painted. There's a lot of different effects used on this paint job, and I will say that it looks wonderful, even for just something as simple as the base. This is damn nice. Another cool feature is if you pop off this small compartment of this panel here, you'll reveal a switch. But what could that be for? Well, let's turn out the lights and find out. And oh yes, this is truly a horrifying scene. With a crimson red light beneath, the fan blades are cutting into that illumination and constantly chopping up how much you can actually see the Revenant here in the dark. This is powered by 2 AAA batteries that can be put into the bottom of the base, and of course you can switch this on or off whenever you'd like. This really ties everything together and gives it just a little bit more of an eerie feeling. I can't tell you how awesome of an effect it is that the fan blade is consistently chopping up the way that the light is coming through those gates there. This is great. It adds such another level of quality and another bit of detail that really wasn't necessary, but really does just push this figure just a little bit above what it could have been. I hate to imagine this figure without this feature, and for that, I will definitely be giving this another point. Above all else, I do rather like this figure. It's one of the only collector's edition figures I've kept for quite a long while. Thanks to the fact that I love this character, that there's tons of great detail in this, and there's that additional feature of the light, all that ties together to make this truly the best piece of the collector's edition of Doom. I recommend this to any Doom fan or anybody that just likes creepy, scary figures, because I know there's plenty of those guys out there. And with all of that in mind, I am going to give this figure an 8 out of 10. It's a great representation of what the character's supposed to look like. This thing looks great on a desk or a shelf, really anywhere you put it, and thanks to all that awesome detail and the feature of the lighting, this is just a super solid piece to anybody's collection. But what do you think? Do you think I'm crazy for liking this thing so much, or do you like it as well? Comment below and let me know what you thought about this, and make sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Make sure to click what's in the corner here. I thank you very much for doing that, and it does help the channel, so thank you a ton. I know this one's a little bit weird, but I just wanted an easy review for once, because the last few ones with the super articulated figures and all the accessories, they take a lot more time. But you should expect another Japan video this weekend. Make sure to have an awesome weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and keep on collecting.